What up, guys? The Adonis review for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It's been a few weeks since I've done kind of a new update. I have done a few of them. Coming up, I'll probably do Dawn of Ragnarok after this, and also the Witch Queen. I've kind of been on and off, but I'm having a lot of fun with Tiny Tina, so I thought I'd quickly do it. Kind of go over my thoughts if you've been waiting for it. Now, obviously, if you're a Borderlands fan, this is a big one because essentially it's Tiny Tina's attack on Dragon's Keep. It's essentially kind of like a massive game pulled off of that, which is pretty exciting because I loved Borderlands 2, and not only did I love uh, Borderlands 2, but I'd say that was almost like my favorite portion of Borderlands 2, and I enjoyed the whole thing basically overall. Um, so kind of getting a big long extension of that, it's pretty exciting to me because I enjoyed it so much. So it's kind of nice to have a longer one. Now, if you're kind of sitting here waiting, again, like I've said this in my Borderlands 3 uh, description. I'll say it kind of again here. Obviously the appeal. I don't know if you can say appeal, but the kind of the thing that makes Borderlands so unique is obviously its art design, right? And that's all fine and dandy. But I really wish that Borderlands would try going away from it. And this would have been almost like a perfect way to do it, honestly. I feel like, if you don't want to break away from the art design, for a traditional Borderlands game, Borderlands 3, 4, 1, 2, kind of doing a side game would have been nice to try it. And I know, again, it's like blasphemy to say that Borderlands should do a different art style than fucking then that's their whole brand. But man, it would just be so cool to see their weapons and their imagination and the characters and magic spells and everything they've done with with Horizon Zero Dawn type graphics or Destiny even style graphics. Like, really bums me out that we're just probably not going to get that, of course, because it isn't. But if they did do it, I'd be pretty stoked. I'm not going to lie. But I digress, But anyway, so the goods and bad when it comes to Tiny Tina, I'll try to be kind of quick with it. But overall, I am enjoying the game a lot. I think I've enjoyed it so far more than I've enjoyed Borderlands 3. Again, the Dragon Keep DLC for Borderlands 2 was the best part of it, and that kind of feeling, it works perfectly in this setting. It's just it's really cool how you have guns, and then you have six different classes of characters you can use, along with uh, along with spells, and every character has different powers and what have you. So it is a really cool setup. The story is entertaining and cool. The areas, I've seen a lot of people talk about how great the graphics are. Again, yes, the game's smooth, it's snappy, the gunplay is good and quick, and it all is very smooth. But again, the game is only going to look as good as it can look with its like shell type shading of comic book style. But it does look good, obviously. But again, as good as it can look. That was kind of where they got rid of them in Borderlands 1 and 2. It's like, with the low graphics they had back then, you can get away with it not being, 1000%, graphics back then because shell shading already kind of puts it in a certain style, so you can only look so good. But for how good it can look with the lighting and how good guns can look and everything, it does look pretty nice. The guns are unique. I would say actually, if I kind of quickly go into the negatives, I do feel like the twists they put onto guns are pretty cool, making them kind of like crossbows or magic infused, in a way, is kind of a cool thing they did. But with that being said, I don't. It doesn't seem like there's a giant variety of it, and it's like, yeah, they have different. They do have a good amount of guns, but I feel like they had more variety in the original games. I don't know. It's just my thought. But the second thing I kind of have a gripe about, is maybe it's being greedy. I guess I could say, but it's that you have these six characters that you can pick, and even so, you have these six characters you can pick. They each have like three different types of main skill sets. You actually only really get two types of main skill sets because if you do the other one, you can only pick between two at a time. So they actually do rob you of one of your skill sets, which is kind of messed up because I feel like having three isn't really that you know it's not really that hard. Like it's not going to overpower you enough. Like why can't they give you all three of your powers? So that's kind of annoying. Another thing that's kind of annoying to me, I'm probably like 5 6 hours in, and they don't have a special power. You don't have like an L1 R1 power or pressing in on both buttons power. Like you don't have like a special, which is also kind of gay. Like why? Why can't you add that? Like you have a giant list of spells. Different type of spells you can pick up. Which are kind of like your grenades, but and there's pretty wide variety. Where I feel like they did a good job in that. But it's kind of undershadowed or overshadowed with the fact that you don't really get, you have all these spells that you can switch between, but not really a lot of main powers you can actually use. Just like what is having a spell and a gun, too much already? I just don't get it. So that's kind of a bummer too. But those bummers are very low in the overall satisfaction of how fun the game is, how fun the shooting is, and having that magic type gunplay. It's not really a game exactly like that. Where you can get spells and first person shooting. It really is kind of a nice little niche, whatever you like to call it, of its own. So you're not really going to find anything exactly like it, and it really does kind of scratch that nice little itch by having that. And obviously, there's a lot of replay value with Borderlands games, getting the better loot and fighting raid bosses. But again, my gripe with Borderlands 3 2 is they didn't really have a lot of raid bosses. And if you did have it, you didn't like with the original Borderlands, you just buy the season pass, and that kind of got you all your raid bosses. And with Borderlands 3, for example, you had to fucking keep buying, season pass 1 and season pass 2. Like, what the fuck's the point of a season pass if you can have 100 seasons? It's kind of stupid. Hopefully this game fixes that and gives you, a good amount of raid bosses, and not all of them are just hiding behind 7 season passes. But it is a fun game. It is good. I think it's worth getting. I bought it, full price. So I'd say if you're not super into Borderlands, or you can wait because there's a lot of good games out. I'd say a good decent price to get this out would be maybe $35, the cheapest. $40 would be pretty fair. You're probably gonna have to wait a month or two to do so, but eventually you probably get it for around that price. But I think I don't know, $70 probably ain't worth it fully. It's not a long story, but again, there is usually a lot of playback value, especially if you have someone to play it with. So I think you'll enjoy if you play. If you like Borderlands, I think this is especially if you played Dragon's Keep, the DLC. You like that, you're definitely gonna like this. It's that, but expanded and blown up. But if you're looking for something to kind of like a true next gen push for Borderlands, this isn't really it, unfortunately. But it does scratch the itch of having Borderlands that you kind of want. So, hope that helps with your Borderlands knowledge. Later, guys.